Just a quick disclaimer, this is a speculation video. So I wanted to get that out the way before starting the video. Just a disclaimer, this is a speculation video. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. This article comes to you guys from Mobile World Life. This is an older article where we can see in more detail what AT&T Spectrum, what they're going to get with the US Cellular deal. So AT&T struck a $1 billion cash deal with US Cellular. And the only two Spectrum components that they get out of it is DoD and 700 B and C block. That is it. That's all that AT&T wanted in that deal. And now that that deal has been approved, once it's closed, all the licenses are transferred. I've already seen service mode screenshots of band 12 widening in some markets already. So that's already happening. So that's what AT&T is getting, for those of you who have been wondering that, in the US cellular markets. In the map that I've shown in the previous videos, this is what AT&T is getting. They're getting DoD and they're getting 700 low band. That is it. They're not getting any AWS, no PCS, no nothing. And I believe that's by design. And this is where the speculation begins from the video. So I think AT&T is playing a massive, massive game of chess with the wireless industry, right? You gotta look at it. You got to read between the lines. You got to look at how everyone's moving, what's happening, right? AT&T is the quiet company. They're sitting back. They're letting the market, do what it wants to do, right? Everyone increased their hotspot to 200 gigs. AT&T hasn't even responded yet, right? So, and I still think they do respond, but their systems internally are so slow, so it's just going to take a long time for them to do that, right? But AT&T has some very incredible, talented people on that leadership team. So even though they're focused on wireless, that's clear as day. I mean, on fiber, right? They're focused on fiber. That's their main priority right now. But they still have to make moves on wireless. So what is AT&T going to pursue next, right? They're clearly investing more in fiber. So they have to find an effective way to gain more spectrum, to effective spectrum, not just two bands like they got. I mean, more DoD is always great, but they need more across the board, right? So, and like I said, this is where the speculation begins. I think within the next 12 months from today, somewhere inside of that time frame, AT&T is going to buy Dish. Now, I don't know how that deal is going to be structured. I don't think AT&T is going to want any part of the satellite or anything like that. But I think they're going to go after Dish. They're going to go after the Spectrum assets, the AWS, PCS. Dish has some DoD as well. I think AT&T goes after that. And I think AT&T also strategically gets some of the cell towers that Dish has built, where, of course, it benefits densification, better RSRP, all that. And I think that's effectively how AT&T further improves and scales the network. It's a one-time payment that they will make to Dish, and then they can instantly deploy the additional spectrum because all of it is already deployed on AT&T sites. And then if you do have any keep sites, it's not going to be that many. Like it's not going to be like AT&T is going to keep 5,000 Dish sites, right? I don't think it's going to be that, but it'll be probably maybe 1,000, 1,500, something like that, if I had to take a guess. And then there's a small integration period, and then AT&T's wireless network will be that much better already, right? Because you have to get band 14 on those sites and all that goodness for the first responders. But I think that's going to be the card that AT&T plays. I really think so. And I think Dish is about done. Dish, I mean, what else is Dish going to do? Dish is being torn apart by analysts. Investors really don't like the play. There's not much in the media about Dish or Boost or whatever. You don't see any commercials hardly ever. There is no life left in that company. Charlie Ergen is looking for a way out behind the scenes. And I think he's on the phone with Stenke behind the scenes already. I think they've probably been in discussions for some time. Right? AT&T is a good partner now of Dish's in terms of the roaming. So why not? Right? AT&T will take all of the Boost Mobile customers. They will put them on AT&T. Majority of the time, they're very likely on AT&T anyway. Outside of city limits, those Dish native customers, they're on AT&T. So this tie-up would make perfect sense, especially under this administration. So in the next 12 months, be on the lookout. Again, this is speculation from me, but be on the lookout for a Dish AT&T tie-up. It's going to happen. And I also think the way that they get that across the finish line, I think they give the 600 that Dish has, I think they give that to T-Mobile. Because I just don't see AT&T spending capital deploying that on a nationwide scale. I just don't see that. So they will sell that to T-Mobile, right? They will get more money out of the deal. And then AT&T, they go guns blazing and they start deploying, right? They software update, widen the spectrum, and then they're going to keep some of the Dish sites. At least I would recommend that. There is some densification that AT&T could make use of. And that's, that's that. That's what I think AT&T's next chess move is. And that's going to be a really big one for them. I don't want to say that's a checkmate move in the wireless industry because there's still more to do for AT&T. But getting some of those customers will help market share, will help, with fiber convergence and all that. So just pointing that out. That's why I disclaimed at the beginning, made a disclaimer that this is a speculation video. But I think this is already in the works. Between me, you, everybody on the channel, I think this is in the works. This is going to happen. And AT&T is going to go big. They're going to go big. But it's in the form of a one-time payment, right? If you're talking about densification, capital intensive, right? You're going to have to spend that every year, right? This one, you do a one-time big payment and you make the network better, right? T-Mobile has been doing it. T-Mobile got Sprint. They just got US Cellular. So, AT&T is going to go that same route. I truly believe that. And be on the lookout for that in the next 12 months. I think it still happens within that time frame under this administration. And I think that's going to be their biggest M&A under this administration. I know the Luma one is big for the company, right? Because they're chasing fiber. They want to scale. But I think that will be the biggest cash-wise, how much they're going to spend under this administration. I think it will be. I would say this would probably go maybe 10, 15 billion around there, what they would have to spend. But I think it would be a wise spend, right? Much wiser than just dropping 180 billion on Time Warner or whatever it was, And it would be effective instantly. You close that deal, you get it across the finish line, you can deploy spectrum right away. And it's good spectrum, and it'll help boost the sub 2 gigahertz holdings. And you can put that to play right away on NR, right? You widen band 12 from the US Cellular deal. You can move the N70 and all the stuff that Dish has today in its network. If you're AT&T, you move that right away to NR. And now you have more carrier aggregation, faster speeds, better penetration, all that good stuff. So that's my speculation video. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you're agreeing with that. I think that's a slam dunk for AT&T. And it's a big chess move in my book. So let me know your thoughts. Like, share, subscribe. See you in the next one. Peace.